coming up in this episode of Railway Maniacs.
So we've gone for a full-on frontal assault on the front tube plate with our weapon of mass destruction. Young Harry spent all of last night studying. He watched all of Bruce Willis's Die Hard movies in one go. We shall never surrender. The restoration of Battle of Britain class locomotive at Sir Frederick Pile continues. In a previous video you saw us lift the boiler away from the wheels and the frames. And in this video we'll be gaining access to the inside of the boiler and having a good look around. There is only one way into this boiler and one way out, and it is not through the firebox, which is the left hand part of this unit with the flat sides, and it's not on the right hand side either, the black part where the smoke box is. The only way into these Bulleid boilers is through the top, through the steam dome. The steam dome is situated just in front of the safety valves, seen here on the beautifully painted and fully clad clan line. You'll get 10 bonus points if you can name the station that clan line is sitting at. Let me know in the comments below. Underneath that lovely cladding and top hat, the steam dome looks like this. Here is one I prepared earlier. This is Brocklebank Line, our Merchant Navy class locomotive, and this is the access hole that we'll be climbing through once the regulator is removed. The regulator valve is held in place by a number of nuts and studs with split pins keeping them in place, and these are proven to be quite troublesome, along with 4 more nuts on studs that you cannot see, which is actually below the regulator valve, which connects it to the steam pipe which carries steam to the superheater manifold at the front of the logo. Much time was spent dealing with these split pins and the nuts that had also been stuck in there for nigh on 70 years. But once we had done that, we realised that the regulator body had a fracture in it. If that wasn't bad enough, we have an even bigger problem. We can't actually gain access to the nuts that hold the regulator onto the flange. And that is only accessible from inside the boiler. And we can't get into the boiler because the regulator's in the way. And remember, there's only one way into this boiler and one way out, and that is through the regulator. So it seems this battle is lost. The regulator has beaten us, as there is no other way into this boiler. But before we start crying into our tea, we need to find some British stiff upper lip. The battle of the regulator is over. The battle of the tube plate is about to begin. We shall never surrender! We need to make some plans over a cuppa. Right, said Fred, let's have a cup of tea.
Has it got pressure on it?
Whilst consuming copious amounts of tea and biscuits during the tea break, we decided to come up with a new battle plan. Where one door doesn't open for you, you create another one. So we've gone for a full-on frontal assault on the front tube plate with our weapon of mass destruction, the gas axe. But only if Alan can get it to light. Are the hoses long enough to reach the bottom of the regulator?
Find out, won't I? You find out?
The eagle-eyed amongst you would have already noticed that a lot of the tube plate has already been cut away, because Alan has been working in here for an hour or two at least, trying to burn his way through here. But that metal is really thick. That tube plate, I think, is probably about 1.25 inches wide. I'm not sure totally. I guess sometime I might actually get around to measuring it. The steel seems to keep melting itself back together, prolonging the job even more. It does make some excellent videography though. We'll slow things down for you. Just above Alan's head here is the superheater manifold. This is not what Alan does as his day job. He's not quite mastered the art of using the cutting torch yet, but he gives it a good go. It's time for another spectacular slow-mo. Alan's son, young Harry, spent all of last night studying. He watched all of Bruce Willis's Die Hard movies in one go, in preparation of playing the hero in this very video. That door needs a good kick in. You want to be the first man in the boiler, Harry? I think you deserve that honour.
Gloves. You can pick up my yellow.
Hold on, Harry, I'll film it from the other end. That's one small step for this restoration, one giant leap for mankind. Without waiting for a pat on the back from his old man, Harry picks up the gas axe and continues on with his mission, which is to cut those studs off that hold the regulator onto that steam pipe.
There should be 4 horizontal bolts.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
so you just want it here. Oh, yeah, there it is.
My yellow chisel, yeah?
The camera now returns to the hole in the front tube plate, from which we view Harry begin to cut these studs off, which again is quite spectacular. I think it's a bit more successful
Oh yes, mate. Yeah.
than Alan at cutting through these studs. Again, he's putting on quite a good show there. Now, with everything undone, all we have to do is to wiggle this thing out of the hole. As you can see, we have the strops in position ready to lift it because it is pretty heavy. You can see to the left where the broken
Oh,
part
yeah.
of the regulator body used to be. We shall now use the forklift and these struts to try and lift up the regulator and then try and manipulate it out of the hole.
Right, Paul, we just need Richard to come up a smidge. Just a tad, really, while we manoeuvre it round.
You want me this end or you?
Well, if you can see that end all right. And
You're happy with me to pull it?
Yeah, if... Did you see the... Whoa!
No,
Sorry. Just, is it clear of that flange? Paul, as long as it's clear of that flange, can you get him to come down a tad?
This is Hugh
Just
and
a
Mike,
touch.
who are inside the boiler, and Paul is outside.
That's it.
And at the controls of the forklift, we have Richard, gentle touch, Moffat.
No, it's going to have to... Right, that's off of there.
Yeah, that's right up against this.
Okay. Dean?
Yep.
Oh, you in? Sorry, we might need a hand.
Yep.
Really.
How the fuck are we going to get that over there?
Stop. I wonder if I can push this up. Paul, can you just get him to extend the forks a touch? Just a smidgen. It's just that bar there now, isn't it? Yeah. Right.
A bit more.
No, hang on, Paul, because we'll end
No,
up...
stop. Do you want that bar in there?
Yes. No, we need this out. Once that's dropped down,
We can not get a. Just leave it. Stick a lever through the gap and pry it
because
out.
it's sticking out by about an inch.
All right. Oh, is there not a space for it to go?
We'll get a clear lift then. Paul,
Yeah.
can you get a pair of pliers, please, and a small club hammer?
No, as you cover.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. You just stick a bar in
Drop-
here
drop-
that
drop.
way.
Oh, just drop this down.
We'll take the pin out, drop it down, it'll be clear then.
Will it drop though? Because it's on a square.
No. No, you have to do the one this side
You have
as
to
well.
do both sides.
All right.
No, I was thinking, if I pass you the bar, I was thinking of just sticking that up that way there, in there, pulling back to me.
Well, it might, it's going to be, all right, go
I'll
for
get
it.
out of the way. You all right?
Yeah, we can get it right.
All right.
Test it.
It might drop. It might spring down. This, so be careful.
Yeah.
Yep. That's going to do it.
It's all right. Let's wait till Paul comes back, and then we give it a go. And then if not, we'll just drop the
Yeah.
two linkages.
Yeah, that's all right then.
If he can just lift it a tad.
Okay.
Yeah, just gently.
Good.
It's almost there. Paul, hang on. Let's just assess. Let's just drop the bar out. Yeah, we got a little bit of wiggle room there.
How about we just leave the arm out the way now?
If you do that again, I'll give it a tap and see if it goes.
Yeah, it's jammed on that side now. It'll swing back once this is clear. Hugh, be careful, please. think if we can, it's on there now.
right.
If we can go for a pull that way.
Right.
Hang on, let's get the bar on there.
Oh!
Right.
Yeah.
So jump. Well, I'm done in here now. I'm going to climb outside.
Yeah, right. Chop chop. Then we'll go for a lift.
Yeah.
No, just a minute, Paul, because our cameraman's going to have to get himself into position. If he doesn't catch his gonads on that.
The regulator is finally free of the boiler. The regulator lands on top of our makeshift workbench. We can have a closer look at it. To the left, you can see the broken mounting, and to the right, you can see the flange that bolts onto the steam pipe. Now let's take a look inside. Let me know what you think. Those of you who are armchair experts, let me know. Because as you may have discovered, I am not an expert at boilers. Or pretty much anything else, come to think of it. Here we go, we're inside the smoke box. About to climb through the front tube plate that we have opened a door into. And now right above our heads is that steam pipe.
Here we are inside Sir Frederick Pile's boiler.
We are now looking down the boiler barrel towards the inner firebox. You zoom in there, you can see many of the boiler stays. They totally encircle that inner firebox, so there's no actual direct contact between the inner firebox and the outer firebox. It's all held together with these boiler stays, which keeps that distance apart where the water jacket is. The light you can see in front of you is daylight from the outside shining through the firehole door. That is where the coal is shoveled into the firebox. The light above there is also coming from the outside from, well, that obviously is the steam dome where the regulator used to be. And the little specks of light you see there to the left and to the right are from boiler washout plugs. As we turn away from the rear tube plate there, we look towards the dreaded steam pipe flange, the one that gave us so much trouble. Well, there's not much steam in there anymore, is there? Let's pop our head up and out of the steam dome and have a look around and see where the safety valves go. Right in front of us there. Let's drop back down inside and have a closer look at those boiler stays. Now looking above the crown sheet of the firebox, you can see these boiler stays have a thin coating of scale on them. Remember, this whole area was flooded with water while it was in service. These stays aren't looking too bad. To my very inexperienced eyes there, there doesn't seem to be too much corrosion on the boiler stays. This rear tube plate looks a bit rough in places. As you can see there, where the boiler tubes have been cut off with the oxyacetylene torch. And if you know how that was done without anyone being inside the boiler to do it, you can write the explanation in the comments below. Everyone else would be interested to find out how that was done. It takes thousands of man hours to be able to restore these boilers, and this is the reason why. Look at how many of these boiler stays there are, and each one takes hours to replace. A lot of hard work, and there are hundreds of these things. As we look through the rear tube plate towards and into the firebox, you can see each one of those little tiny pimples you see there is a boiler stay. See, hundreds of them. Even in the thermic siphons, they're even full of boiler stays. Look at that, hundreds of them. Let's spin the camera back round. We'll have a look at, apart from the hole in the floor, that's where we sweep out all the debris. And we look up to the front end of the boiler through our newly newly made door, which is beautifully framed by the smokebox door in front of it. Before you get tired and click away from this video, can you please push that like button, as it does help the channel enormously. And then also please subscribe to the channel. You can also watch one of our previous Railway Maniacs videos. There's a good number of them there to choose from. And we very much hope you enjoyed watching this video.
Somebody's tired. If you'd like to see our previous railway restoration video, click on the left window. Or you can click on the right hand window to find out more about Southern Locomotives Limited.